Let me paint a picture for you. You're lying on bed at night scrolling. You're wired but tired. Your mind is buzzing. You've got a decent job, maybe even a good one. You're on track, and from the outside it probably looks like you've made it or you're well on your way there. But inside, it's different. There's this low hum, a quiet ache, something feels off, something is missing. You can't quite put your finger on it, but it's there every single day. So here's the question we're answering today. Why do you feel unfulfilled even when you're doing everything right? And more importantly, how exactly can you fix it without burning down your whole life? Because this isn't just you, this is everywhere. Millions of people are chasing a dream they don't believe in, waking up every single day to walk a path that does not feel like theirs. We have built a society where rewards performance over purpose, applause over alignment. The result? A generation of people who are successful but unsatisfied, productive but lost, impressive but internally exhausted. And if that is you, this video is the beginning of your way out. Let's start with the truth. You feel unfulfilled. Not because you lack discipline in any shape or form. Not because you haven't worked hard enough, but because somewhere along the line, you were told what success should look like. And you bought into it. You were told to go to school, get a job, climb the ladder, make all the money you can, and collect all the stuff you can, build a brand, so on and so forth. And you did it. Or maybe you're on your way there. But here's the thing nobody talks about. Even if you win at that game, you can still lose. Because when your wins don't reflect your values, they don't feel like victories. They feel like noise, like pressure, like you're carrying around someone else's life in your hands. Let me ask you something, and be honest with me. When was the last time you felt deeply proud of your life? Not because of what others said, not because of likes or numbers or approval, but because you knew right here that you were doing what you meant to do. If that's hard to answer, then you're not broken, you are misaligned. And there's a big difference between being on track and being on purpose. And most people, they're stuck trying to be excellent at something they don't even give a damn about. Trying to be great at a life they would not choose again if given the chance. That dissonance, that's the source of the emptiness. You can hustle for 16 hours straight in a day and still feel empty if you're building someone else's definition of success. Marcus Aurelius once said, "People who labor all their lives but have no purpose to direct every thought and impulse towards are wasting their time, even when hard at work." That's the ancient version of "you're grinding, but what exactly are you grinding for?" As for Nietzsche, he would say this is the danger of living by borrowed values. When we're tired, we are attacked by ideas we conquered long ago. Because deep down, part of you already knows this. You just haven't had the space or permission to question it. So, I'm giving you both. You can question it, you should question it. Because your life does not get better by pushing harder. It gets better when it starts pointing towards the right direction. And that's what we're going to do next. You feel unfulfilled not because you're broken, but because you have been chasing what the world told you you want. You have been hitting goals that were never yours to begin with. And that's not your fault. That's conditioning. That's social programming. That's the noise that we are all born into. But here is the whole truth. Fulfillment doesn't come from doing more. It comes from doing what is right for you. And the first step to that, getting real clear on what actually matters. So, let's do that. I want you to take 10 minutes today, not later, not next week, today, and sit with a list of values. You can Google one or check the one that I've left in the description. It will have things like creativity, freedom, loyalty, authenticity, and so on and so forth. Pick 10 that stand out for you, then narrow it down to 3. 3 values that feel absolutely non-negotiable. The kind that you defend even if it costs you your life. Now, look at your life. Look at your work, your routine, your relationships. Ask yourself, how much of the current life reflects those 3 values? Be honest, no judgments, just honesty. Because this is your compass, your internal GPS. And here's something the Stoics knew. If you don't align your actions with your values, you will suffer. Doesn't matter how successful you look on paper, deep down, it will feel like you are faking it because you are. Alright, that's the first step, reconnecting with what matters. Now, let's move on. The second step is to audit your life, not like a to-do list. I mean a deep reflective scan of where you actually are at the moment. So, here's what we're gonna do. Draw a circle, divide them into slices, label them: work, relationships, health, personal growth, spirituality, creativity, and fun. That is your life wheel. Rate each section from 1 to 10, not based on how productive it looks, but how fulfilled it feels. And now look at your wheel. Is it balanced or is it overinflated while others are flat? That is your misalignment right there. Because most of us, we pour everything into work, and we then wonder why we feel so disconnected, uninspired, and even empty. But let me be clear on this. This isn't about shame. This is about awareness. Because awareness is the beginning of ownership. And without ownership, nothing changes. Now, I want to pause for a split second here and have a real conversation just between you and me. Because I know what you're thinking right now. Should I quit my job? Should I walk away from everything I've built just to chase a simple idea of fulfillment? And let me talk to you, one-on-one, another human to another human. I've been there. I know that question. I've asked it and I have lived it. And here's what I have learned. To answer the actual question, should I quit what I'm doing? I'm afraid I don't have an answer ready for you. Because after all, I am not the bearer of the consequences of your decisions. But as far as I'm concerned, you don't need to blow up your life to live a better one. Sometimes the change is external, but most of the time, it's internal. It's how you show up, how you say no, how you say yes, how you give yourself permission to choose differently, even in the smallest ways. You don't need to escape. You just need to reclaim your life, reclaim your energy, your vision, your voice. Because fulfillment isn't found in some far-off place. It's built, one aligned decision at a time. And in case you're interested in what I actually do in this scenario, well, I'm currently 20 years old, going to university, and yes, I feel like going to school is incredibly meaningless. I feel as if I'm eating glass every time I go to school. But that does not mean that I cannot find realignment. I'm still trying to do what makes sense to me, that is bootstrapping my startup and building my personal brand. So, if you were to ask me, should you quit entirely? That depends on your heart. But I do have a pointer that I want to provide with you. It is possible to still do the same thing but show up differently. Alright, we've looked into what matters, we've looked at where you currently are. Now it is time to move toward where you want to be. And this next part is called the fulfillment map. It is a modified version of a framework from Japanese philosophy called Ikigai. Grab a pen and open your notes. 4 circles. Circle 1, what do you love? Circle 2, what are you good at? Circle 3, what does the world need? And circle 4, what can you get paid for? And in the intersection in the middle, where those 4 overlap, is your fulfillment zone. Now listen, I'm not saying this will solve your life overnight. But what I'm saying is, when you find even one action that lives inside that overlap, your whole experience changes. So, write down 3 small moves you can take this week that live in that center. Maybe it's revisiting a passion, or maybe it's setting up a conversation with someone you love, or just blocking time to create, or to rest, or to learn. Whatever it is, start where you are, because this is not about perfection. It is about a direction. And like Marcus Aurelius used to say, do not waste time on what you cannot control. Focus on what you can. You can start, you can shift, you can build. Now before we wrap up, I just want to leave you with this. Fulfillment isn't a luxury. It is not some bonus level you unlock after you've hustled hard enough. It is the foundation. It's what everything else should be built on. And if you wait for the world to give it to you, you will have to wait forever. So right now, you have to choose it. Even when it's inconvenient, even when it's quiet, and even when no one claps for you. Because this is your life. And like Nietzsche used to say, become who you are, not who the world told you to be, not who your past says you are, but the version of yourself that moves with purpose. Understand that you are not behind. You're just now starting to aim right. And if this resonated, I just want to leave you with a few pointers. Do the work. Do your values drill. Run your life audits. Map out your fulfillment and make a move. Drop a comment and tell me one change you're making this week. And if this has helped you, send it to someone who needs it.